I never imagined a single sentence could end a marriage. But choose my mother or get out did exactly that. For 4.5 years with Maddy, I'd been making myself invisible. We'd met at a Columbia University networking mixer and got married after 20 months of dating. Looking back, our wedding was the first warning sign I ignored. We'd selected a charming vineyard venue in Westchester. Her mother, Barbara, switched it to an exclusive Manhattan country club without consulting me. Maddy went along with it and never mentioned anything until I saw the new invitations. I said nothing then, just smiled and nodded. The following Christmas, about 16 months into our marriage, Barbara criticized the bracelet I'd bought Maddy as uninspired. Maddy giggled nervously and agreed it wasn't quite her style. Our second anniversary dinner at an upscale seafood place in Brooklyn got interrupted by Barbara's phone call. Maddy spent nearly an hour on the phone while our entree sat untouched and went cold. I finished my meal alone, settled the check, drove us home in silence. Each incident seemed minor in isolation. Combined, they painted a clear picture. I was a supporting character in my own life. I'd learned to shrink myself to accommodate everyone else's comfort. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving last year, Maddy announced we'd be spending the holiday at her mother's place in Manhattan. 5th consecutive year. My parents lived just an hour away in New Haven. They'd already purchased everything for dinner. I phoned them, apologized, promised we'd visit that Saturday instead. Tuesday evening, Maddy FaceTimed with Barbara while we packed our bags. Barbara dictated the menu and seating arrangements. Maddy never once asked my input or opinion. Thursday morning arrived. We drove into the Upper East Side. "Just don't make waves today, Leon," Maddy said as we crossed the bridge. "When do I ever make waves?" I asked. She didn't answer. Barbara's townhouse occupied a prime corner lot. We arrived at 2 o'clock. Barbara answered with her trademark smile that never reached her eyes when directed at me. "Oh, you're actually punctual for once. That's surprising." I handed her the wine I'd brought. "Your favorite Sauvignon Blanc?" I said. "I've switched to rose actually." "Didn't Maddy mention it?" She hadn't. Inside, the place looked like a design magazine spread. Maddy's sister Emily and her husband Brett were there with their 4-year-old son. Barbara's sister Linda and her husband Thomas. Maddy's younger brother Nathan, home from graduate school. 11 people total. Barbara orchestrated the seating arrangement. She placed me at the far end of the table, separated from Maddy by 7 other guests. Maddy sat right beside her mother at the head of the table. Dinner began with polite conversation and dish passing. Barbara dominated every discussion, sharing stories and opinions. I chatted with Thomas about his consulting work until Barbara interrupted. "Thomas, don't bore Leon with business talk." Thomas went silent immediately. I noticed the pattern clearly. Barbara controlled conversations with subtle put-downs. Everyone allowed it without objection. Barbara recounted Maddy's recent work achievement, getting several facts wrong. Maddy gently corrected her. "Just a team lead position, Mom, not department head." "Same difference, sweetheart. The point is you're climbing the ladder." The way she emphasized climbing felt directed at someone. Me. I was halfway through my plate when Barbara set down her fork and dabbed her mouth with her napkin. The table conversation died down. Everyone recognized what was coming. "So, Leon," she said, looking directly at me, "Maddy mentioned you're still with the same company. Going on what, 5 years now?" "6 actually," I said. "Just got promoted to senior security analyst." "Senior analyst," she repeated slowly, taking a sip of wine. "That sounds very technical." The pause stretched uncomfortably. I felt every eye on me. "When Maddy first brought you home, I thought she'd found someone with real ambition. Someone who'd be a true provider, like Emily's husband Brett. Brett ran his own dental practice. I knew where this was headed. Instead, she married someone who stares at computer screens all day. Honestly, I expected better for her. You're pushing 31 and you're still just this." She gestured vaguely at me. "It's disappointing for the whole family. Frankly, it's a failure on your part." The table went completely silent. Emily studied her wine glass intensely. Brett became fascinated with cutting his turkey into precise pieces. Linda shifted uncomfortably. Nathan stopped chewing mid-bite. Maddy's face flushed deep red, but she remained silent. My heart hammered in my chest, but I kept my expression calm. I set my fork down carefully and looked Barbara directly in the eye. "I appreciate that you have strong opinions about my career, Barbara," I said evenly. "But I'm excellent at what I do. I earn a comfortable living. Maddy and I have a good life together. Whatever your definition of failure might be, I don't meet my own definition." Barbara's eyes widened slightly. She wasn't accustomed to pushback. Maddy's head snapped toward me. I expected surprise, maybe embarrassment at her mother's behavior. Instead, I saw anger. Sharp, immediate anger directed entirely at me. Leon. Her voice sliced through the silence like a knife. Warning tone like scolding a misbehaving child. I turned to her, waiting for her to tell her mother that was inappropriate. Waiting for her to defend me, her husband, the person she'd vowed to stand beside. She didn't. Maddy stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. You don't get to speak to my mother that way. Not in her house, not at her table, not ever. I was defending myself, I said quietly. You were being disrespectful, she said, her voice rising. Either you respect my mother or you leave. Choose. The ultimatum hung in the air like smoke. Everyone froze. I looked around the table. Nobody met my eyes. Emily examined her napkin like it contained hidden messages. Brett focused entirely on his son. Nathan had pulled out his phone, pretending invisibility. Linda's mouth formed a tight line. Thomas looked profoundly uncomfortable. Barbara sat back with folded arms, wearing the satisfied expression of someone who just won a chess match. Maddy stood there waiting, expecting me to back down, to apologize, to fall back into my usual pattern. I stood slowly. No dramatic gestures. I simply stood. I folded my napkin and placed it beside my plate. I pushed my chair in properly. All right, I said. Just those 2 words. I walked to the entrance hall. Maddy called after me. Where do you think you're going? I grabbed my coat from the rack, my keys from the console table bowl. Maddy appeared in the doorway. Leon, I'm serious right now. I looked at her, truly looked at her, waiting for her to take it back, to realize what she just demanded. To choose me, her husband, over her mother's ego. She crossed her arms, set her jaw, eyes hard. Still waiting for my apology. I know you're serious, I said. I opened the door, walked through, and closed it quietly behind me. No slamming, no scene. Just gone. I sat in my car for 3 minutes staring at that brick townhouse. Part of me expected Maddy to come running out. The door stayed closed. I drove back to our apartment in Queens. 50 minutes through traffic. My phone stayed silent the entire drive. Each passing minute confirmed what I already knew deep down. She'd chosen her mother over me. I felt strangely calm. Not angry, just clear-headed. Some invisible line had been crossed that couldn't be uncrossed. At the apartment, I stood in the living room looking at our combined possessions. This wasn't my home anymore. I'd been living in Maddy's world, following Maddy's script. When had I stopped existing as my own person? I pulled 2 duffel bags from the closet and started packing systematically. 4 days of clothes, toiletries, laptop, important documents. Methodical, like preparing for a business trip, because this was business. The business of extracting myself from a situation that had become untenable. My phone stayed silent. 6:30, nearly 4 hours since I'd left. Still nothing from Maddy. At 7 I called my college friend Ryan Mitchell. He lived in Brooklyn, worked for a tech startup, had mentioned having a spare room. Hey man, random question, I said when he picked up. You still have that extra bedroom? Yeah, why? Ryan's voice was cautious. Everything okay? Not particularly. Any chance I could stay there for a bit? I'll pay rent obviously. What happened? I'll explain when I get there. Can I come by tonight? Of course man. Doors open. No interrogation, no drama. Just a solution. That's real friendship. I finished packing, 2 duffel bags total. Then I pulled out my phone and photographed everything. Every room, every angle. My belongings, her belongings, shared items. Creating a record, evidence if needed. The living room, bedroom, kitchen, bathroom. I even opened cabinets and photographed contents. Everything documented thoroughly. At 7:40 my phone buzzed. A text from Barbara. I hope you've learned something about respect today. My daughter deserves better than your childish tantrum. I stared at that message for 15 seconds. Childish tantrum. I'd spoken calmly, left quietly, done everything appropriately. I deleted the message without responding. Blocked Barbara's number. I loaded my bags into my car, took one final look around the apartment, locked the door behind me. I drove to Brooklyn. Ryan's apartment was in Park Slope, a 2-bedroom on the 4th floor of a renovated brownstone. I unpacked in the spare room. Hung clothes in the closet, set up my laptop on the desk, plugged my phone into charge. I checked messages. Nothing from Maddy. Midnight now. 9 hours since I'd walked out of Barbara's house. My wife hadn't reached out once. That told me everything I needed to know. She was waiting for me to break first, to apologize, to come crawling back, to admit I was wrong. She could keep waiting. I set my alarm for 6:30. Tomorrow I'd start building my exit plan. By 9 I was searching for divorce attorneys. Created a spreadsheet, narrowed it down to 3 firms, sent professional inquiry emails to each. By noon I had consultation scheduled. At 6:20, Emily texted. "Hey, heard about yesterday. You doing okay?" "I'm fine. Thanks for checking in." Mom's version of events is pretty one-sided. "I'm sure it is. I was there. I saw what actually happened." "I appreciate that. Maddie's really upset. She didn't think you'd actually leave." That's the core problem right there. At 8 o'clock, Nathan called. "Dude, what the hell? Everyone's losing their minds. I was told to leave, so I left. You know how Mom is. You're just supposed to ignore it. I've been ignoring it for 4.5 years. I'm done ignoring it." He hung up. 10:15. Email from Linda. "Leon, I was at that dinner. I saw everything that happened. Barbara was completely out of line. So was Maddy. You did absolutely nothing wrong. I hope you're taking care of yourself." I read it 4 times. First real validation from anyone in that family. I replied, "Thank you. That means more than you know." Saturday morning I went to Chase Bank. Opened a new individual account. Transferred exactly $24,000 from our joint account, precisely 50%. Kept the receipt, screenshot the balances. Not a dollar more or less than my exact share. I emailed HR, changed my direct deposit to the new account. Applied for a new credit card, got approved instantly. Removed myself as authorized user from our joint card. By afternoon, everything was separated. Bank account, check. Direct deposit, check. Credit card, check. All documented with dates, times, confirmation numbers. Phone still silent from Maddy. 50 hours now. Not a single word. Saturday evening, Ryan ordered pizza. Over dinner, I filled him in on everything. He listened without interrupting. 4.5 years of this, I said. "That's sad, man." "It is. But it's also finished." Sunday morning at noon, my phone rang. Maddy. First contact in 78 hours. I stared at the screen. Let it ring through to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Again to voicemail. Third call I answered. "Yes. Where are you?" Her voice was sharp, demanding. "Does it matter? You've been gone for 3 days. No word, nothing." I was worried. "You told me to leave." "I left. I didn't mean permanently. We need to talk." "About what exactly?" "About fixing this. About moving forward." "There's nothing to fix. You made your choice." I was upset. People say things when they're upset. "You gave me an ultimatum in front of your entire family. Either respect your mother or leave." I chose leave. "You're being overdramatic." "I'm being clear." "Where are you staying?" "Ryan's place." "You ran to Ryan. What did you tell him?" "The truth. Your version of the truth." Her voice had an edge now. The only version that exists. Her voice shifted, softer. "Please come home. We can work this out. I have a consultation with an attorney tomorrow morning." Silence. Then, "Attorney for what? What do you think?" "You're talking about divorce over one argument?" "Over 4.5 years of arguments I didn't have. Over 4.5 years of you choosing everyone else over me. Thursday was just the final straw." "You can't be serious." "I've never been more serious in my life. I'm coming to get you. We're discussing this face to face." "No. If you want to talk, we can meet somewhere public. But I'm not coming back to that apartment. It's our home." "It was never our home. It was your home. I just paid half the rent." I hung up. Monday morning, 11 o'clock sharp. I sat in Jennifer Rhodes' office in Midtown. Jennifer Rhodes was early 50s, sharp navy suit, direct manner. She gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Tell me what brings you here today." I walked through the timeline. 4.5 years of marriage. Pattern of disrespect and dismissal. Thanksgiving incident. I showed her my documentation. Photos, financial records, detailed timeline. She took notes, didn't interrupt once. She explained the New York divorce process. No-fault divorce required living apart for 6 months under separation agreement, or proof of irretrievable breakdown for at least 6 months. If both parties cooperated, process moved faster. If contested, could take considerably longer. Asset division operated on equitable distribution principle. Court considered length of marriage, contributions of each party, economic circumstances. No alimony likely since we were both employed with comparable earning capacity and had a relatively short marriage. The apartment lease, Jennifer said, checking her notes. You're both responsible through June 30th unless one buys out the other or you reach an agreement. Understood. What's your ultimate goal here? Clean break. Fair division. I just want my life back. I can work with that. Let me draft the initial filing. We can serve her by end of week if you're certain. I'm certain. She quoted a $5,000 retainer. I wrote a check from my new account without hesitation. Monday afternoon, I went to work for the first time since Wednesday. At 3:15, an instant message popped up from my colleague Amy Chin. Your wife just called here looking for you. I typed back, what did she want? Asked if you were in the office. I said you were in a meeting. She said it was urgent. Sounded really upset. Thanks for the heads up. I blocked Maddy's number on my work phone. Emailed HR, please note, do not transfer calls from Maddy Foster to my extension. Personal matter. Thank you. HR confirmed receipt within minutes. 5 o'clock. My cell phone buzzed. Text from Maddy. You blocked me at your office? This is insane. We're married. You can't just shut me out completely. I didn't respond. Second text, answer me. Third text, I know you can see these messages. Fourth text, fine. Be childish. My lawyer will be contacting you soon. I screenshot all the messages. Sent them to Jennifer Rhodes. She replied immediately, expected behavior. Don't engage at all. Forward everything to me. Wednesday evening at 7:15 Ryan's doorbell rang. He answered, then came to my room. Your mother-in-law is here. With some other people. I looked through the peephole. Barbara, Emily, and Nathan. I stepped into the hallway, closing Ryan's door behind me. Wouldn't let them into his space. Barbara started immediately. This has gone on long enough. What has? I asked calmly. This temper tantrum of yours. You're destroying my daughter over nothing. Your daughter told me to leave. I left. You were disrespectful to me. I defended myself. There's a difference. Emily interrupted. Can we all just calm down and talk reasonably? Nathan jumped in. This is stupid, man. Just come back. Apologize. Move on. Apologize for what exactly? I asked. For embarrassing Maddy, Barbara said. For walking out on Thanksgiving. For turning her family against each other. I spoke calmly at your table. I left quietly when told to. I haven't contacted anyone from your family. Which part of that is embarrassing? You're making Maddy look bad, Barbara insisted. Maddy made her own choices. Emily tried a softer approach. Look, I understand. Mom was harsh. But marriage is about forgiveness and compromise. Where was the forgiveness when your mother called me a failure? I asked. Where was the compromise when Maddy gave me an ultimatum? She was defending Mom, Emily said. She should have been defending her husband. Barbara stepped closer. You're being selfish, thinking only of yourself. That's interesting coming from you. Her face went red. Excuse me? You've spent 4.5 years making sure Maddy put you first, I said. Before me, before our marriage, before everything. And she did every single time. So yes, now I'm putting myself first because nobody else ever did. Nathan shook his head. Come on, man. You're family. No, I'm not. I was never family. I was the guy who married into yours. There's a significant difference. Barbara's voice went ice cold. If you go through with this divorce, you'll regret it. You'll never find anyone better than Maddy. Maybe not. But at least I'll find someone who chooses me. Emily tried one more time. What about counseling? One more attempt. You can't counsel someone into respecting their spouse, I said. Either they do or they don't. Maddy doesn't. Barbara's face hardened. You're going to regret this. We'll make absolutely sure you get nothing. I already have what's mine. I don't want anything from your family. Barbara stormed toward the elevator. Nathan followed. Emily lingered briefly. I'm sorry it came to this, she said quietly. So am I. But not sorry enough to go back. She left. I went back inside. Ryan looked up from his laptop. That looked fun. About as expected. Thursday morning. Jennifer Rhodes emailed. Papers filed with New York Supreme Court this morning. Official filing time 11:32. Process server will deliver to Maddy at her workplace tomorrow between 2 and 4. I read the email 3 times. It was real now. Official, legal, public record. No going back. I felt relief, sadness, freedom, all simultaneously. Mostly relief. Jennifer's email continued. Expect immediate reaction. She may contact you directly. Don't engage. Forward everything to me. Her attorney will likely reach out within a week to discuss settlement. I responded, understood. Thank you. I sat at my desk at work staring at the email confirmation. Exactly 1 week since Thanksgiving. 7 days ago I was married, accommodating, keeping peace. Now I was filing for divorce, living elsewhere, rebuilding completely. It felt fast, but it wasn't sudden. This had been building for 4.5 years. It just took one moment of clarity to finally see it. Friday afternoon at 3:10 my phone buzzed. Text from Emily. Maddy just got served at work in front of everyone. She's devastated. How could you do that to her? I didn't respond. 3:30. Phone call from Maddy. Blocked number went straight to voicemail. Voicemail 1. You served me at my job in front of my colleagues? You humiliated me, Leon. You actually filed for divorce. I didn't think. I can't believe you'd actually do this. 3:40 voicemail 2. Call me back. We need to talk about this immediately. This is insane. You can't just throw away 4.5 years over one argument. 4:15 voicemail 3. She was crying. Please just talk to me. We can fix this. I'll set boundaries with my mom. I'll do whatever you want. Just stop this process. 5 o'clock. Text from Nathan. Dude, she's a complete mess. She really didn't think you'd go through with it. Maybe give her another chance. I forwarded everything to Jennifer Rhodes. She responded immediately, standard panic response. She thought you'd back down. Stay the course. At 8 that evening, Ryan's doorbell rang again. Maddy stood there. First time seeing her since Thanksgiving. She looked exhausted, red eyes, still in her work clothes. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. Stood in the doorway. Can we please talk? She asked. What is there to say? That I'm sorry. That I made a mistake. That I want to fix this. When did you realize it was a mistake? I asked. When I filed papers or when I actually left? Both. All of it. I didn't think you'd really leave. That's the fundamental problem. You didn't think I'd set boundaries. You didn't think I'd choose myself. You thought I'd just accept it indefinitely. I love you, she said. You love what I provided. Stability, support, someone who didn't rock the boat. But you never loved me enough to defend me. That's not fair. I was in an impossible position. No, you weren't. Your mother called me a failure. You had a choice. Defend your husband or defend her behavior. You chose her. She's my mother. And I was your husband. Past tense. One mistake doesn't end a marriage, she insisted. It wasn't one mistake, I said. It was 4.5 years of mistakes. 4.5 years of me being the absolute lowest priority. Our wedding, Christmas, our anniversary, every family dinner, every decision. You chose everyone else first, every single time. I was trying to keep everyone happy. Everyone except me. She wiped her eyes. I'll change. I'll tell my mother she was wrong. I'll set boundaries. Just withdraw the papers. Why now? Why not on Thanksgiving when I defended myself? Why not Sunday when you called? Why only after you got served? I was processing everything. You were waiting for me to apologize, to come back on your terms, to accept that this is how things are permanently. So that's it? You won't even try. I tried for 4.5 years. I tried every time I bit my tongue. Every time I made myself smaller to make your family comfortable. Every time I accepted being disrespected because you asked me to. I'm done trying. Her expression shifted from tears to anger in seconds. Fine. You want a divorce? You'll get one. But don't expect it to be easy. My mother has excellent lawyers. You'll get exactly what the law says you deserve and not a penny more. That's all I'm asking for. You took money from our account. I took half. Exactly my share. It's all documented. We'll see what a judge says about that. I'm happy to let them decide. You're going to regret this, she said. Maybe. But I won't regret staying. She turned and walked to her car, got in, drove away. I closed the door. Ryan appeared from his bedroom. That sounded rough. It was necessary. You okay? Yeah. I actually am. Saturday morning, I woke to an email from my mother. Maddy's mother called me yesterday. Said you abandoned Maddy, took all the money, filed for divorce out of nowhere. I told her that didn't sound like you at all. What's going on, sweetheart? I called her immediately. Explained the entire situation. She listened without interrupting once. Why didn't you tell us this was happening? She asked when I finished. I didn't want to worry you. I needed to handle it myself first. You could have come here for Thanksgiving, Leon. I know. I should have. Barbara called you a failure in front of everyone and Maddy said nothing? Worse, she took her mother's side. My mother was quiet for a moment. Then you did the right thing. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. I felt unexpected emotion at those words. Thanks, Mom. Do you need anything? Money? A place to stay? Anything at all? I'm okay. Ryan's letting me stay with him. I've got it under control. All right. But if you need us, we're here. Always. After the call, I felt lighter. My actual family supported me completely. Believed me without question. Didn't need convincing. Sunday, Maddy posted on social media again. Sometimes the person you take a bullet for is the one behind the trigger. Learning to heal from betrayal. Barbara shared it immediately. My poor daughter deserves so much better than this. So proud of her strength through this. I didn't look anymore. Deactivated my account completely. It didn't matter what story they told. Let them control whatever narrative they wanted. I had the truth, the documentation, and the law on my side. 3 weeks later, mid-December, Jennifer Rhodes emailed. Maddy's attorney reached out. They want to negotiate settlement. Are you open to discussion? I replied, yes. What are they proposing? Meeting scheduled for Thursday at 2. Their office. I'll need you there. Thursday arrived. Law office in Midtown. Maddy's attorney was Richard Miller, Barbara's cousin. Potential conflict of interest, but allowed if I didn't object. I chose not to object. I wanted this finished. Maddy sat across the conference table. Barbara sat beside her, against Richard's visible objection. Richard started. My client is willing to reconcile if Mr. Foster withdraws the petition. Jennifer responded before I could. My client declines. Barbara leaned forward. This is ridiculous. 4.5 years of marriage over one comment. Jennifer's voice was crisp and professional. Mrs. Miller, you're not a party to this proceeding. If you can't remain silent, you'll need to leave. Richard looked pained. She's here as emotional support. Then she needs to act like support, not counsel. The negotiation began. Assets, $49,000 in savings, already split 50-50. Both parties agreed. Apartment lease through June 30th. Both responsible. Maddy wanted me to move out officially, remove my name. I agreed, but only if she paid me out for my half of the security deposit and last month's rent. $3,000. She agreed. Furniture and belongings, I provided my list. Everything reasonable. Nothing contested. No shared debts beyond the apartment lease. No alimony requested by either party. Settlement reached in 95 minutes. Both parties signed. Court date set for January 22nd for final dissolution. About 5 weeks away. Everything civil, professional, finished. Barbara tried to speak as we were leaving. Jennifer cut her off. Nothing to discuss, Mrs. Miller. We walked out. 1 week later, Maddy agreed through our attorneys to give me access to the apartment. Saturday at 10 she'd be elsewhere. I brought Ryan in his truck. The apartment felt like a museum of a past life. Maddy had already separated everything, my items in labeled boxes. Efficient, cold, final. Ryan and I loaded everything. My desk and chair, bookshelf and books, gaming console, clothes and personal items, kitchen items I'd contributed, framed photos of my family. Everything fit in one truckload. 40 minutes total. I left my key on the kitchen counter. Left an envelope with a check for $1,800. My half of December and January rent paid early. Included a note, key inside. December and January rent. Good luck with everything. Leon, professional to the very end. I drove away from Queens without looking back. Ryan asked, how you feeling? Free. January 22nd arrived. New York Supreme Court. 10:15 hearing. I arrived with Jennifer Rhodes. Maddy arrived with Richard Miller. No family members present on either side. The judge reviewed our settlement agreement. Confirmed both parties agreed to all terms. Confirmed no reconciliation desired. Asked standard questions. We both answered appropriately. The judge signed the dissolution order. 10:42. 27 minutes total. 4.5 years reduced to 27 minutes. Outside the courthouse, Maddy and I had one brief final encounter. I hope you find what you're looking for, she said. I hope you learn to set boundaries with your mother. Her face hardened. That's cruel. It's honest. Good luck, Maddy. We walked in opposite directions. I never saw her again. February. 2 months after everything changed. I found a one-bedroom apartment in Astoria. Affordable, clean, entirely mine. Ryan helped me move in. I furnished it gradually. Second-hand couch, new bed, used desk. Building a space that was completely mine alone. Work went well. In March, Rachel offered me a promotion to lead security analyst. 18% raise, better projects. I accepted immediately. You've been different lately, Rachel said. More focused, more confident. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Just taking care of myself finally. I started running again. Used to run in college. Started going Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday mornings through Astoria Park. Cleared my head, built routine, improved health. In April, I started seeing a therapist. Dr. Helen Martinez. Worked through 4.5 years of suppressed feelings. Learned about boundary setting, understood my pattern of people-pleasing. Made real progress. This experience taught me that the most vital connection in life is the one you have with yourself. If you don't truly understand who you are or what you want, it's impossible to create something meaningful and lasting with someone else. Now, I finally feel like I'm living my own life instead of the life I thought I was supposed to want. Thank you for watching the video to the end. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. A playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to is now displayed on the screen. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.